There's a quiet moment in every hospital hallway, usually just before dawn, when the machines hum a little softer and the world feels suspended between fear and possibility. And if we're honest with ourselves, cancer has long lived in that silence, moving quietly, sometimes too quietly, until it's already rewritten a life. Most people overlook this simple truth. The battle against cancer has never just been about medicine. It's been about time. How early we act, how early we see, how early we choose to care. And now, in this strange and promising era of artificial intelligence, we find ourselves asking a question that carries both hope and a kind of trembling responsibility. What does it mean when a machine can see what we cannot? The story of this moment didn't begin with algorithms or neural networks. It began decades ago with families sitting around kitchen tables, wondering how something so small could take so much. It grew in the laboratories of scientists who spent lifetimes trying to uncover patterns hidden in cells, pushing back against the quiet advance of a disease that too often caught us unprepared. By the mid-2020s, technology had started to outpace even our imagination. AI, learning to read scans with a precision that startled radiologists, turning mountains of medical data into earlier warnings and second chances. But alongside that progress came the shadows. Half the world still unable to access basic diagnostics, billions left outside the glow of innovation. And in that tension between breakthrough and inequity, wonder and worry, we saw the fault lines of our global family. We saw how progress, if left unguided, could deepen the very divides we've spent generations trying to close. We saw how every step forward carried with it the weight of who might be left behind. Well, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on educating content as this. I've felt the pull of these questions before. When we launched the Cancer Moonshot back in early February of 2016, it wasn't because we believed government could cure cancer on its own. It was because I'd met too many families in Chicago who lost people they loved before they ever got a fair chance. I'd sat with researchers who carried hope in one hand and heartbreak in the other. And I knew the way you know a truth in your bones that if America had any strength worth bragging about, it was the power of ordinary people doing unordinary things together. In the Oval Office, you learn quickly that progress doesn't come in sweeping gestures. It comes from scientists comparing notes late at night, from patients who volunteer for trials, not knowing if it will help them, but hoping it will help someone else, from communities that refuse to accept that your zip code should decide your chances. And even now, when I read about AI catching tumors earlier than trained experts, I feel that same mix of humility and awe. I think about my mother, about those long nights in the hospital, and I wonder what might have been different if we'd had the tools we're building today. But I also think about a kid on the South Side who still can't afford a routine screening, and I'm reminded technology doesn't erase inequality unless we decide it must. Because beneath all the talk of algorithms and data sets lies something older than any machine we can build. This moment is about human nature, our desire to outsmart the things that scare us, and our responsibility not to lose our moral compass while doing it. AI can read millions of scans, but it can't feel the fear in a family waiting for results. It can detect early patterns of disease, but it can't answer the ethical question of what happens when those patterns are taught using data from only a sliver of humanity. Democracy, at its core, is the belief that every life matters equally. And so the test here isn't whether we can make AI powerful, it's whether we can make it fair. Whether we can build systems meticulous enough to save lives, yet empathetic enough to honor privacy, autonomy, and the fragile dignity that illness lays bare. Hope isn't blind optimism. I've said that enough times to know it almost by heart. Hope is work. It's the grind of retraining models so they don't misdiagnose someone with darker skin. It's the courage to slow down innovation long enough to ask who benefits and who doesn't. It's the willingness to govern technology not with fear, but with a steady insistence on justice. And what encourages me, what keeps the long arc bending, however slowly, is that each time we face a crossroads like this, ordinary people push us toward our better angels: doctors, coders, caregivers, patients, folks who understand that progress without compassion is just another form of neglect. So when I think about AI catching cancer early, I don't see a future ruled by machines. I see a future shaped by choices, the quiet, everyday decisions we make about how far our empathy extends. I see the possibility of a world where early detection is not a luxury, but a birthright. A world where technology deepens our humanity instead of replacing it. And I see the responsibility we carry, each of us, to make sure that when history looks back at this era, it remembers not just what we built, but who we built it for. Because in the quiet scan of an AI algorithm lies the chance to rewrite fates, but only if we lead with justice for all. And so I'm left with a few questions, ones I hope we sit with honestly and without fear. Will we allow this new power to widen the distance between us or narrow it? Will we build a future where technology serves every community or only the fortunate few? And when the next generation asks what we did with this extraordinary moment, what story will we be proud to tell?